teenage customers for profit, a narrative that had only grown stronger after James and Adam accepted a $12.8 billion investment from Altria, the parent company of brands like Marlboro and Virginia Slims. Now the din had grown loud enough that Congress was investigating how Juul had developed and marketed its products, and James had been forced to salvage what was left of his reputation. "We never wanted any non-nicotine user, and certainly nobody underage, to ever use Juul products," he continued. "Yet the data clearly shows a significant number of underage Americans are doing so. This is a serious problem. Our company has no higher priority than fighting it." It wasn't supposed to be this way. Cocky, charismatic James reduced to groveling before an unsmiling congressional subcommittee, at least half of whose members seemed already to think him culpable. He and Adam had founded this company to do something good with their lives. They'd wanted to give adult smokers, people like them, a better choice. Somehow they'd ended up here instead, or at least James had. Adam was conspicuously absent, not just from the congressional hearing, but also from the company he'd helped build. By the time things really started to go downhill, he had one foot out the door, leaving James alone to explain away the company's mistakes. What if they'd designed the product differently, so everyone would stop comparing it to a flash drive? What if they'd swallowed their pride in the beginning and hired some former tobacco executives, people who actually knew how to handle a heavily regulated product, instead of pretending they were just another work hard, play hard Silicon Valley startup? What if they'd taken a different direction for Juul's launch campaign, the one the press loved to compare to old cigarette ads? What if they'd never posted a single photo on Instagram? What if James hadn't been quite so smug during all those interviews? And what if Adam had come out of his shell to explain why he'd made Juul's nicotine formula so strong? What if they'd listened when experts warned them that those educational classroom visits were a bad idea? What if the emphasis on growth hadn't been quite so strong? What if the company had said no when Altria came calling? What if Juul hadn't made an enemy of the Food and Drug Administration Commissioner Scott Gottlieb? How might things have gone? All those questions were rhetorical now. James pressed on. "Our incentive is to help smokers achieve their goal of transitioning from cigarettes. It is an astonishing business opportunity, no doubt, but it is a historic opportunity for public health," he said, his emphasis heavy on the word historic. "Underage use of our products does not advance that goal," he added, eyes flicking up toward the congressional panel. "It imperils it." Part 1. The Spark. 1. Smoke Without Fire, 2004 to 2005. James Monsees didn't know what he was doing anymore. Standing outside Stanford University's design loft one night in late 2004, a burning cigarette perched between his fingers, the 24-year-old suddenly couldn't square who he was with the smoky mess of paper and tobacco in his hand. Here he was, well on his way to a master's degree from one of the most prestigious product design programs in the country, and yet he was still sucking on a burning tube of tobacco and chemicals, knowing full well it was terrible for his health. It felt primitive. More than that, it felt dumb. He looked over at his classmate and smoke break buddy Adam Bowen, who was puffing away on his own cigarette, and felt only bewilderment. Why were they both still doing this? Adam couldn't think of a single good reason either. He'd tried to quit smoking plenty of times before, always cold turkey, never successfully, and yet there he stood, filling his lungs with tar and smoke. "We're relatively smart people," the two marveled, "and we're out here burning sticks." There had to be something better. Why shouldn't they be the ones to create it? The pair's late-night breakthrough came about 2 years after Adam enrolled in Stanford's Graduate Product Design program, which taught about a dozen students a year to approach the craft through a unique blend of engineering, business, art, psychology, and sociology.